As a little bonus today, I was going to do a video on CC, Chris from Westchester County. Um, but honestly, his flat earth shtick, it stopped being interesting after I reacted to the first couple of videos of his that I decided to do reactions to. That's just not doing it for me. So, I decided to just look up creationism and see what stuff came up. I got this video titled Consider the Morals of Creation, James White. So we're just going to see what he has to say here. So let's get to it.
And it's easy for us. We go, well, yeah, back then, they weren't like us modern folks. They had these idols and things like that. My friends, it is no less offensive to God today when a secular scientist unlocks some of the mysteries of God's own creation and then, having done so, stands back and says, just happened that way.
There's no evidence for your deity. That's point zero. You haven't even got started on asserting that your particular deity even exists. Let alone that it is a correct deity, so to speak, let alone that it's the only deity, let alone that it actually has the powers you put into it through your story, and let alone that the story happened as depicted in a particular book. No, no, no. When we figure out how things work, we're figuring out how things work. Because it seems funny to me that every little bit we probe further and further, we figure out more and more exact detail. And the idea of some magical deity just making things that way just gets pushed further and further off into a corner, never to be heard from again, hopefully.
It's just an accident.
Also, I don't give a flying fuck about what offends your deity or you or your perception of your deity. If that fucker exists, they know it'll convince me that they exist. Otherwise, it's as much a story as Harry fucking Potter, X-Men, and sadly fucking Guild Wars.
When I think of the biologists who look at the complexity of life that we understand now and say, well, it just happened by accident.
By accidents? Oh, so they come up with evidences. Now they have accidents. Not accidents like the auto caption garbage put, but accidents like evidence. What? Come on. And it's not a case of accident, it's emergent complexity, and if any life was designed and created, it would actually be pretty dang simple because simplicity is a hallmark of design. How many times do we have to tell you clowns that?
Is there really any less foolishness involved there than there was with the man who built an idol out of the wood and then bowed down to worship?
Those are two completely different things. You've got some primitive dumbass in some story building some idol and worshiping it because he's a religious, superstitious moron. And then you've got people actually trying to figure out how the universe works. I don't understand how that is something bad. Oh, right. Because, again, everything we learn pushes your magic storybook and the deity within a little further off into a corner to, once again, hopefully be never heard from again.
I say no. It's the same kind of idolatry. So I want to look at a...
Man, those auto captions suck. He clearly said idolatry when it said theology. Is it not? Did a human do this and just do a terrible job or something? I mean, fuck. Also, it's not all idolatry. This idea, this projection that, oh, rejection of religion is religion. Just that's the grand scope of it is so fucking absurd. That's just not the case. That's not how it works. Get the fuck over it. Not everyone is religious. It usually goes hand in hand with being atheist that you tend to abandon any semblance of that which would be considered traditional religion. Now one can have codes of ethics and or I would say belief systems, but that seems a little too strong, but personal convictions and personal standards that fill some of the holes, fill some of the needs, feelings of need that religion can fill. And one can certainly have an incredible one would maybe call it reverence, deep respect, and emotional tie towards what they see as a beauty in things, certainly. But that's not a religion, and science most certainly is not a religion, a faith. Science is not an idol to be worshipped. Science is a methodology that's given us incredible advancements. You sure take advantage of that with the microphone you're using to capture your voice, the camera recording your image, the equipment used for you to shave, for you to trim your beard, keep it styling. I'll admit, that's an alright beard right there. Props to the beard. Got some style going on. But the machines used to make your clothes, everything. You'll take advantage of science where it's that. But the moment it just happens to be like, hey, a deity isn't necessary for this. We figured out how this or that works. Suddenly, you're upset. And it makes perfect sense why. But that's the problem. You should look at the double standard and be like, maybe we should reconsider.
Specific text in Isaiah chapter 41. And I remind you, the context here goes back and forth between God saying to Israel, I'm going to do this to reveal myself to you. I'm going to do this to reveal myself to you. And then he turns to the false idols. He turns to the gods of the peoples, and he challenges them. He brings them into the court of law.
Okay, how are you bringing a false idol into court? Is Lionel Hutz the representative? Because, this is some cartoon shit right here. And also talking about revealing yourself to Israel, that's all fine and good, but if your deity cares so much about shit right now, why doesn't the fucker reveal themselves now? Oh, right, they're not going to, because they don't exist.
And there is a reason why he's doing this, and I point you to Isaiah chapter 41, verse 20. Isaiah chapter 41, verse 20. Despite the fact that I have obtained...
Uh-oh, look out. He's pulling out the reading glasses to help with, corrections necessary to God's perfect eyes that were created for him.
A wonderfully large print Hebrew text.
And I'm not knocking somebody for not being able to see. Age hits us like a brick. I can't see for shit. I desperately need to go to a doctor that actually knows what the hell they're doing for starters to get a good prescription and the right kind of glasses for me to be able to see worth a damn again. But it's just a funny observation to make. I've always found that one amusing.
And I have my Johnny Cash giant print LSB. I still need my Jim Kirks.
LSD? Why don't you just go all the way and get some LSD? Make that shit feel real.
Unfortunately. Wow, look at all that stuff there. That's great.
At least this guy is actually kind of amusing. I do like the personality, at least. I don't want to be a dick to him. It's definitely got more charisma than Kent Hovind. Much better joke delivery, too. Much more pleasant voice. Much more pleasant to look at. And I do like this backdrop. I will say that the nice velvety blue, really nice, contrasted with the brown, particular shapes of things. This is nice presentation, so props where it's due for this church and their video work. It's solid.
It's amazing what you miss when you don't put these things on. Verse 20 of chapter 41.
To be fair, we're probably just going to get a random Bible lesson here, so I'm not going to say much. Feel free to tune out. Just till he, makes a comment that I have to react to, because I ain't going to argue with a musty old book. Argue with people's interpretations of the musty old book, but I don't give a fuck about the book itself.
Why is God doing all these things? It's a section where he has talked about how he's going to provide for Israel, and he's going to give them all these, provide their needs and things like that.
Well, looks like he wasn't doing too good a job there towards, certain point in history, that's for damn sure.
And then he says, this is so that they may see, and they may know, and they may literally settle upon. And so it means to contemplate, to think upon, and to gain insight into what? That the hand of Yahweh has done this, The Holy One of Israel, and it's literally, has created this.
So the deity will go through all that for people of Israel, but doesn't do jack diddly shit today. I'm not gonna stop bringing that up. And you can't just point to some weird thing or some odd fucking coincidence like, hey, this Bible this building was destroyed, but this Bible landed up on this particular page perfectly fine. Wow, what about all the ones that were ripped apart in other buildings? What about all the fires where they've all gotten burned down? What about all the, missing limbs from people? All the accidents that happen? Just all the horrible, horrible stuff that's just allowed to happen. Oh, right, that's the problem of evil, and y'all have apologetics for that. Because you have apologetics for everything, because that's all you can do is apologize for it. And yes, that's not a totally a correct analogy, but I'm going to use that because it just feels so appropriate that apologetics is nothing more than literally apologizing for the theology being fucked up. I'm not sure offhand if the two words have a same root or if it's pure coincidence, so I'm not claiming they are or not. It's just that's the way I interpret it. It's kind of a what would the reverse of a pun be? It's like that.
He wants his people to know who it is that has made provision for the people of Israel.
And that man was Bob Saget. I don't know. I just felt like saying Bob Saget. It's a fun name. Miss that guy. He was funny.
And he wants them to know that he is actively involved in this world. It is the hand of Yahweh that has done this. It is the Holy One of Israel that has created this. It's the very same term that's used in Genesis 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Okay, and that does fuck all for anyone now.
So he wants his people to know. He does not want us looking at all the things he does for us and attributing that to natural causes or happenstance or anything like that. He wants us to know that his providence, that working out of sovereignty in time, is purposeful on his part.
Well, I don't give a flying fuck what he wants, because he hasn't been demonstrated to exist. James Bond villains tend to want to take over the world. I don't care what they want, because they don't exist. So I don't care what Magic Storybook says, because its only relevance is within its own context of Magic Storybook.
He wants us to know him, and we are to see, and we are to know, and we are to contemplate, meditate upon, gain insight about. This is something that we are to do when we look at God's works. This is what he wants. And so it is in that context that the discussion then turns in verse 21 to a challenge to the gods in the law court.
Maybe this is where Hovind gets his constant and an honest court of law from these passages. That would actually make a lot of sense. It's just, these other deities don't exist. See, is this an admission in the Bible that the other deities actually exist? Or is this maybe an admission that they exist so long as people believe in them? And so once belief in the Christian God fails, and Yahweh just disappears, that deity will cease to exist, like the ancient Greek and Roman gods? Is that how this works? I mean, sometimes these pastors will quote from the Bible, and what I'll hear is inbuilt admissions of the foolishness of the entire concept, of the absurdness of it. And it's kind of hilarious, because it's like, does no one else see this? Because I noticed this kind of stuff as a kid. I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense. That sounds self-contradictory. That sounds like it's admitting it's a lie. I don't know.
So what does Yahweh say? He says, bring forth your case, says Yahweh. Make known or introduce your strong or your mighty argument, says the King of Jacob.
I'd also like to note, while I've heard different interpretations of it, the passage in the Bible about, I think it's in the Old Testament, of not bringing your God to the test or whatever. It's funny that they want to test other gods. That's fine, but don't bring Yahweh to test. You get special immunity.
What is his challenge to them as they've now been brought into court? He says,
Well, first one team did a dare, then the other team did a double dare, then the first team responded back with physical challenge, so now they got to do the pie throwing minigame. And then Mark Summers hits in the face with one, and then they had to stop taping the show while he cleaned up. Yeah, double dare was awesome.
make known to us, declare to us the things that are going to take place. What's coming? Make known to us the things that are going to take place.
Well, I'm going to finish this video. I'm going to stop recording. I'm going to upload this video to YouTube. It might stay members only for a bit, might not, I haven't decided yet. But after that, I'll let the video be available for whomever wishes to watch it. People will leave comments down below, people will like and occasionally dislike the video, and I'll go on and continue doing other stuff. Congratulations, I can predict the future. Does that mean I get to judge your deities? It does? Great.
And as for the former things, declare to us what they were, that we may settle our hearts, that we may focus upon, we may meditate in our hearts, and that we may know their outcome. And declare to us the
Yeah, I'm just leaving the crap on the screen. I don't even care.
things that are going to come after.
Okay, so that actually had precisely bug all to do with, the marvels of creation. Um, that was one of the things of all time. Right. Wasn't very fun of a video. Whatever. I recorded it. It'll go up. If you like it, you know what to do. If not, that's cool too. Just leave some comments. Catch you next time.